terrible car accident. We almost lost her. I remember praying so fervently that she would survive, and here she is. Here she is.
And I was losing my voice before, so I had this megaphone, and it's really convenient. I'm like, I can do that here. And is he playing music? See, this is how multimedia I am. That's Mozart's wrong track. That's wrong playlist. Wrong playlist. Stop it. Eject that.
It's really nice, though.
It's Mozart, which is for my other show on Wednesday, because I'm also featuring on Wednesday at the open mic that I host after the poetry open mic.
Which one is it?
Myself, it is the one with today's date on it, with one track. 2013-0721. Periodically on the beach, or something like that, I think it's called. Hi there, everyone. I have been doing poems for every element in the periodic table. And yes, I usually do music with stuff, and I normally wouldn't hear, but I happen to have this player. So the music that you're hearing in the background is running music from the Haman of South Africa. Did he attempt for this for mixing? I hope it's just quiet in the background and I can work with this. I have a bunch of brand new poems. If you had wanted, I actually have some of the other new poems, and it's all up to Kathleen if she wants longer poems. I've got other new feature stuff that I'm reading on Wednesday. If people are going to be coming by Wednesday and want to hear something else, I can do that. But what I thought I'd do with this show is start with, well, I'll start with the one that actually talks about the actual foundation of the periodic table, since I'm doing a poem for every element. This first one is number 101 of the periodic table, and it's Mendelevium. Once there lived and existed a great learned man with a beard almost as long as God's. Daniel Pozin wrote that about Dmitri Mendeleev, a Russian scientist who created the periodic table as we know it. There's even a sculpture outside the Bratislava, Slovakia University of Technology. In the center is Mendeleev's head, fully adorned with metal curves for his flowing mane and beard as rows of elements emerge from around his head, emanating. Because while other scientists tried to come up with ways to order the known elements, Mendeleev predicted a system of elements based on their weights and explaining their properties. This idea showed the spaces between the atomic weights of discovered elements and explained the properties of elements that would only be discovered in the future. It's good to know that just a few years after the American Civil War ended, that scientists globally were able to understand the relationship between the elements thanks to Mendeleev. And it's sad that the science community waited for nearly half a century after this godlike scientist's death to name an element after him. Mendeleev did many odd jobs during his life, not unlike Albert Einstein, with an element named after him only 2 spots away on Mendeleev's periodic table. And the thing is, Mendelevium is only created after smashing Einsteinium with alpha particles. But it's sad, with all the research the world has done to learn about this element, we still know so little. Mendeleev taught us how to research and discover more, but now that we've found only trace amounts of Mendelevium, we still don't know what to do. Because once we've found you, if you don't give us enough so we can learn, we're forced to wonder. Will you be more like Einsteinium, silvery white, radioactive, but with an estimated enthalpy that underlines your danger to us? Because I imagine that you, like Mendeleev, will show us how to learn, then leave us alone to struggle for you. This is helpful. With the wind, I figured this little thing would be helpful.
Oh, yeah.
Outside. And it just, anyway. That one was 101, and this one is number 111 in the periodic table. This is Ruin Gentium. Being in the right place at just the right time is what getting what you want is all about. 13 nuclear researchers bombarded bismuth 209 with nickel-64 ions to make the nickel penetrate the bismuth nucleus so they'd come together to make a bigger atom. So the nickel had to go fast enough to penetrate the bismuth nuclei, not too fast, but not too slow, and still you'd lose a ton of atoms to space. They looked for so long, and no one knew for sure what raw indium looked like. So researchers started predicting its properties because it had such a short half-life. And on the anniversary of when this element was discovered, of when all this came together in just the right way, at just the right time, well, that's when John Hinckley, after stalking the rock star and watching his habits, that's when he walked from the sidewalk and shot John Lennon. Because as I said, you have to be in just the right place at just the right time to make everything come together, don't you? But if we ever got enough of this element of one, we'd love this precious metal, even if only for a short while. Yeah, it was on the day that he was shot. Like, that was earlier, but the same day. That was gonna freak me out. But this one, now I'm going lower in the periodic table. This is number 89. This is actinium. So at my old job, we had to work with this piece of machinery that in order for it to work, needed to be powered by 8 D-cell batteries. Yeah, we could have plugged it in, but there was never an outlet in the places where we actually needed to use this machinery. And these 8 D-cell batteries we had to use, they were lasting like only 2 to 4 hours. So we'd have to go through anywhere from 4 to 6 sets of batteries a day. I mean, that's insane, having to go through all that battery power. So I called the manufacturer to see if any battery packs had a longer life. I even asked if rechargeable battery packs existed for it. They said there weren't any rechargeable battery packs, but a sales engineer there said that they had a special long-life battery pack that lasted several years. Sounds like a good plan, so I asked for pricing and found out it cost thousands of dollars. Yeah, this battery pack could run from $14,000 to upwards of $40,000. But I was prepared to go to our supervisor with these figures because, yeah, that's a lot of money. But wait, we're using this machine. If we keep using it, we're going to spend that much on batteries in less time. So I called that sales engineer again for more information, and that's when they told me, sorry, we couldn't buy it. Now, I know it's expensive, but I had to know what's up. And then he said that they could only sell it to NASA, the DOD, and select U.S. government agencies. So, yeah, I had to ask why, and found out that it was a special radioactive thermoelectric battery for use in outer space. It seems that the radioactive actinium was the fuel for the work that I need to do. I guess it figures that the only thing that could help out my work is something insanely rare and insanely expensive, and it's best suited for a spacecraft, not for down here where I've got work to do.
Woo!
Actually, I wasn't doing that job. You'd have to ask somebody else that I know what the job details of that battery pack were. It was actually not my voice. You know, you can speak in other people's voices, right? That's poetry, blah, blah, blah. Trying to make it sound scientific and poetic at the same time in a way. Now, you have to work to try to figure out how to pronounce these things. This one, getting lower on the periodic table, this is number 38. Starts with the letter Y. This is yttrium. Recently, NASA sent a rocket to collide with a comet to gather comet dust so they could learn about comets, which contain the primordial parts of what started the solar system. A compact disc bearing my name was mounted on the Impactor spacecraft shot into space on this deep impact mission. Although this was the first mission with my name on it, it was also the first NASA mission to learn about what's deep inside of a comet. The rocket combustion chamber that shot this Impactor spacecraft on its collision course through the top Comet Temple 1 had a silver-colored lining of an alloy of nickel, chromium, aluminum, and yttrium. Yttrium makes sense because yttrium has been used in places from MRI scanners to help us heal, to CRT tubes on TV sets to help us see. Yttrium makes element compounds stronger, good for stellar travel. Besides, the fact that bodies, or what a cathode ray tube could. It may help us see where we came from in the solar system, too. Well, the things are going out there and what the changes with the solar system, so they're like, we've got to find things that will help us learn about that stuff. Well, just for that, now I'm going to have to talk about something more physicsy than astronomy, I guess. This one is number 67 in the periodic table. This is holmium. I've got a poetry word magnet set, so you can arrange words on your fridge to write a message or write a poem. And even though I remembered that magnets have two sides, two poles, I still took one of those magnets. I think the word on the magnet was stick. And I turned it around to see how it wouldn't stick to the fridge. Now, holmium has the highest magnetic strength of any element, so I thought about this magnet's poles, but I didn't know that scientists had been using holmium to try to discover the widely theorized and avidly debated magnetic monopole, a magnet that only has one pole. Grand unified and superstrength theories predict their existence, and these magnetic monopoles could explain a ton about space, time, and the laws of physics. But the theory is that there's so little of it, and nobody's been able to even find it. So they'll keep using this magnetic holmium to try to find this hypothetical particle. And it's strange. When it comes to holmium, it's used to color cubic zirconia. And when it comes to that magnetism, holmium can even absorb nuclear neutrons. But the cool thing about holmium is that it's used for dental and medical purposes, and it's even used with solid-state lasers to remove early-stage cancers with only a local anesthetic. Wow. That, and it can help scientists understand more about the universe, even if it's only on a quantum level. I guess there was a reason why I was so drawn to these qualities. I started this early and I do like the basic ones like, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, the ones at the beginning you do, and I've even done bonus ones, second ones about that I broke down and did a second one about number 13 in the periodic table. This one is called aluminium, aluminum. So back in the day, this is how researchers conducted science when working with things that they didn't know. So when a Denmark man in 1825 discovered element 13 and wanted to know everything about it, he tasted the element. Thinking it was bitter and it made his mouth tighten up when he ate alum, he posed the name for element 13 to be aluminium. But I think the science people that formed the element naming community, they didn't like that name, so they decided to call the element aluminium. But the element's name is aluminum. Aluminium's a British thing, so why is it known in the States as aluminum? Well, I heard a man explain that he heard, now, I don't know if this is true, but hear me out. He heard that in the States when a company, it might have been the Aluminum Company of America, Alcoa, but I'm not sure. But when they were starting this company, they filed its name to the federal government. And when needing to write the Aluminium Company of America, they forgot the letter I. So the name became the Aluminum Company of America. Well, it stuck, not only in the company, but also in the science community in America. And because someone forgot to write the letter I for registering a company name, all American-speaking countries now say aluminum instead of aluminium. So, from tasting like alum to misspelling a word, aluminium, aluminium, or rather, aluminum, wow, now has quite a list of aliases. This piece is number 69 in the periodic table. This is thulium. Scroll to medieval times and see a classical map. Now look over the Carta Marina, because there you can find what some theorize as an island portable X-ray devices, so we can see what otherwise would be unattainable to the naked eye. I mean, because of thulium's fluorescence, it's even inside euro banknotes to prevent, they actually can prevent counterfeiting. Because thulium fluoresces with a deep blue hue, we'll sail the oceans to learn. We'll go to the farthest places we know, just to see trace glimpses, because we want to go beyond what we can see. I said I'm set up and listen. Thank you very much. This one is ruthenium. Because sometimes you're going through these elements and they're fascinating stories, and some of them are like, they're so rare, you don't know what to do with them, and so that's what I thought of when I saw ruthenium, which is number 44 in the periodic table. I looked for something that would pique my interest. The palladium bored me. Platinum was too expensive because it was often so rare. But then I looked around, and that's when I discovered you. I mean, there didn't seem to be much of a use for you. I even heard that a metal company even offered 100 grams of you free to aspiring researchers, hoping that someone one day might find a use for you. Organometallic chemists experts even were trying to give you away. Well, I'm sure chemists used you. They mixed you with whatever they could find just to see what you might possibly create. Kind of like a bartender trying to come up with a perfect cocktail they can mix for decades. But I've looked into it, and you're a cheap, dull, gray, probably something I can only find at like Walmart. I know I said I was looking for something to pique my interest, but how you come around cheaply, you're still harder to find. I'll keep looking for something to pique my interest, and who knows, maybe one day people will find just the right niche, and you'll be just what I need. So this was ruthenium, R-U-T-H-E. What? The element is ruthenium. R-U-T-H-E-N-I-U-M. Ruthenium. Yttrium, Y-T-T. I mean, like, they get kind of crazy in this thing. But the last scheduled one I had, unless you had wanted additional ones, but this is the last scheduled one I was going to do. And this one is one right next to, right next to ruthenium, which is number 44. This is number 43 in the periodic table, and it is technetium. And I'll just let you know, T-E-C-H-N-E-T-I-U-M. It looks like technetium. It's technetium. You're surprised. You have to figure out how do you say these. It's technetium. Technetium, technetium. This is technetium. You're named from the Greek word for artificial because you were the first element man ever made. We wanted to discover. We wanted to find you out. We'd even create you if that was the only way. We can only find you after your brethren have been broken apart to reveal you. But the thing is, your name is a bit misleading, though, since you can't be found naturally, albeit in trace amounts. Though it's funny, we searched for you for so long, and now we discover that you are a byproduct of our nuclear power stations. Then everyone thought we wouldn't know what to do with nuclear waste. You've been put into the environment as low-level waste for nearly half a century. But what I've learned is that doctors inject small amounts of you into patients with tumors so that they can exactly see where they need to heal people. People wondered what we'd do with our nuclear waste. Well, now you're used in 20 million medical procedures each year because your short half-life makes you safe, and the way you decay helps doctors see exactly what they need to do to help save a life. And yeah, your nuclear waste injected into a human, but they need such a small amount that the radiation is low. It's hard to believe that we searched for you for so long, and now you're injected into 20 million patients in North America alone every year. So, it's good that we finally found you out. like, I have to incorporate this into an element. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I did. And this is number 52 in the periodic table. This is tellurium. When a couple is meant to be together, but at the core, they're nothing alike. You'll see them come together almost violently before their anger pushes them away from each other. Until they do it again, and again, and again. It's like they can't stop. They can't help it. They rush to each other for a final mad embrace. They feel the intense attraction that they can't escape, till they know, down deep inside, their lust, they hate each other so, and they do everything they can to break free. It's a sick cycle they're stuck in. This coming together, then rushing apart. There's electricity in the air. I hear the buzz when I walk by the street corner and see all those electric wires crossing in every direction. I can hear the loose electricity jumping into the air. Do you know why those electric wires they're spaced really far apart when they're high on poles like that? Well, that's because those tellurium metal alloy wires up high in the sky like that, they're that way because they're not even insulated. And they have such a strong magnetic field with all that electricity coursing through them. If the wires were close to each other while up in the air, the wires would swing violently toward each other because of their insanely strong magnetic attraction. And then, in being drawn to each other in arc-wave form, which would be between the wires destroying them almost instantly. But then again, magnetism in the wires switches polarity 120 times every second because of electricity's 60 hertz frequency. And that would make the wires want to repel each other as often as they were magnetically drawn to each other. So yes, for 120 times every second, these wires would vibrate back and forth. So, if there's no electric arc, these tellurium metal alloy wires would vibrate so intensely and violently that if they weren't kept far apart, they would destroy each other. Vibrating. Tellurium is alloys with steel to make high-strength conductors. Abundant, cosmetically but rare on Earth, is often found combined with gold. In the first gold rush, this mix looked like a waste, so they used it to fill potholes or sidewalks. Once they realized it was tellurium and gold, there was a second gold rush. Acute poisoning with tellurium is rare. Most organisms tolerate tellurium. Organic tellurides even have antioxidant activity and can even be used to identify pathogens responsible for diphtheria. Its optical refraction makes it perfect for glass. It's been used in color ceramics. It gives rubber heat resistance. In copper, iron, lead, or stainless steel, it makes the metal more machinable, improving solar cell efficiency and electric power generation. So it helps any energy. I don't know. Maybe that's why we've been feeling this electricity in the air. That one and a few other pieces will be done in a back and forth poetry feature this Wednesday with me and Buddha 309 in Mysticism versus Science at the end of the mic at Gallery Cabaret.